Hey, what's happening out there, party people in YouTube land? We're back at it. Back at it early this week, actually. We're actually broadcasting on a Monday. Uh, Short time to get our thoughts together from the weekend and all the things that have happened in the world and in our lives. This is the Underway Podcast. I am Mike Hicks, and my gracious and lovely co host is none other than feel free, brother.
Donald Anderson. But it's Michael the Voice Hicks.
I'm sorry. No self promotion on my part. And first, from the first, and right off the bat, let me apologize to my co-host and the party people about last week's episode. Good episode, but I was doing an unsolicited, you know, commercial for a certain potato chip. The problem is I'm so regimented. If I'm thrown off just by a little bit, I was running behind last week, didn't get to eat, didn't get to, so I was kind of thrown off. So I apologize to my host and the party people. So never mind the crunching. If you really listened to Between the Crunching, it was a great podcast. So I'm glad you're back. So yeah, so we got a little NCM jazz here. You know what the NCM jazz? You know what that means, Don?
I do not.
That means non-copywritten music. So this is
Hey.
this is generic. So we can come on with any kind of NCM intro that we like and not
Uh,
worry about being taken to the cleaners. Uh, but if they took us to court, they wouldn't get nothing but practice because I ain't got no money.
you ain't lying. That makes two of us. I
Yeah. All
got
right.
nothing
So
for
we're gonna
him.
bring that down. Absolutely. So we're gonna bring that down. All right. And there we are. So
How was your weekend?
cool. More of the house hunting. We saw a really, really beautiful home. Uh Sunday. Was it Sunday? No, it was Saturday. I'm sorry. Saturday was an it was a washout. It rained from the beginning to the end, man. It was a miserable day. So kind of skirted our plan. So, we still went to go see that house and a few more, and then brought it on in. We've got maybe a couple more to see Sunday. So it's been an interesting process, but we're in a good spot. You know what I mean? It's kind of like there's no rush. Nobody brings down our necks to make a move, but we are ready to make a move. And when we do, everything should go smoothly. Going through the VA home loan process right now, which is pretty cool. They walk you through it. They line you up with VA representative realtors in your area. So,
Mm.
matter of fact, Friday I'm off. My wife is off. We have to go meet our realtor face to face for the first time and discuss our future together. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Pretty good. But just I had a question for you as far as house hunting. Now,
hmm
when you guys find a house, how
hmm
when do you put the bid in? You know what I mean? How's that work?
Well, like for instance, the houses that we're going to look at this weekend, uh, open bids come in on the 5th of August,
Mm-hmm.
beginning the 5th of August. So what happens then is, of course, once you've been pre-approved or whatever your financial situation is, you put your bid in, and a lot of times they may want a cash down. So you might say 5, 10 grand plus 275,000 is our whatever. And they'll go through the contestants, if you will, and
Mm-hmm.
see which offer they want the best or like the best. So yeah, that's how that goes, man. And it's been years, man. Like I said, I bought this house, as a single man back in 1994. So the process has changed drastically. But of course, most of it was pretty familiar with me as far as the language and stuff like that. And we're in a situation where the selling of our home is not contingent upon buying one. So I already told, the realtor, don't worry about a contingency because, this house, we're good. So we'll just sell this after we get in somewhere. And because that's the easier part of this whole thing is the selling, of course. It's
Oh
still
yeah, that's cool.
still a seller's market, but it has slowed down a bit, they say.
Mhm.
Um, from the madness that we saw during the pandemic and things like that. That's what spiked everything. So yeah, so that's the deal, man. So we want to find something first, and like I said, the wonderful thing about the VA loan is no money down, a little closing cost. If that's the case, we find something we can just boogie after we settle in, put a sign in the ground, and it was a house I walk my dog past every day. A nice ranch, maybe about 2 miles from me. 2 weeks, man, gone. 2
Mm.
weeks. 2 weeks. So selling him, that's not a thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
The actually finding what you want, of course, what you want. Like I said, that's why we're in a good spot. We're not being hasty about it. Um, we've got to find exactly what we want and have something that's moving condition because improvement there or here or there, that's nothing. But anything you got to go in and revamp and spend cash money, I'm not interested in that. I did enough work on this house. That was enough.
Yeah, so one of the things that I was hearing, when it was really blowing up like it was, I guess, for the last year and a half, and me being, like I said, in delivery, working for the post
Hmm.
office, I see these houses, they go like that, man. But I
Hmm.
was just curious about like bidding wars. You don't get into no bidding wars or nothing like that, do you?
Uh, we actually put in a bid on a home just to test the waters last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was 250,000.
Mm-hmm.
We told them 265 and 10,000, cash advance.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that was at 11 o'clock when the bids opened up.
Mm-hmm.
By 3 o'clock, we were out of the contest.
Wow.
15,000 over. So basically 25,000 over, with the combined 15,000 and 10,000
Mm-hmm.
on top of the price. Nah, man, couldn't rock with it. So that's our
Right.
day will come
All right. All right.
and we'll have everything. So it ain't no biggie. We'll be all right.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt about it. One of the things that people be telling me, particularly customers that are selling, um, I'll look at her house, right? I'm talking about from a delivery standpoint, mailman standpoint. I look up and I'll see I'll start seeing new names and stuff. So I ask the people, I say, yo, y'all selling your house? And this one guy say, yeah, but we decided not to go, we're putting a actual sign in the ground. So I don't know how they go about doing that, but that might be an option too to think about if you can get with
Well, they're
people.
doing a private sale. You know what I
Private sale,
mean?
exactly.
Private sale. So with that, um, what's happening now because of how the ebb and flow, or basically just the ebb, really of of the housing market is going, you're getting a lot of phone calls, dude. You're
Hmm.
getting a lot of phone calls from property management companies that are offering cash buyouts for your house now.
Hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? And even that's, something to look into. But of course, like I said, we don't want to get the bag and then we got to go what, rent an apartment until something happens.
Right,
So like I
right.
said, we're in a good situation here. Uh, being that this house is mortgage free, praise the Lord. So even if, like I said, we found what we wanted, it's not like we'd be paying two mortgages and be in a pinch to sell this house because I've seen people do that too. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? They moved out of a house and they still have a mortgage on it. So they get the crib, they haven't sold the other one yet. So they're paying two mortgages until they unload the original home. So nah, man. So like I said, there are a lot of things tied up into that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting market out there with the housing market. We've thought about ourselves selling at one time, and actually
Hmm.
had a guy come to our house. He's a realtor,
Hmm.
and I know he ain't gonna listen to this. So he came out to the house, and I didn't like his energy, man. His energy was kind of like, first and foremost,
Hmm.
he trying to tell us what we could get for the house, and I'm like, well, I know if my neighbors got this, I know we for sure could get that, at least close to it. And
Hmm.
I feel like the dude was trying to lowball us because he had another fish on the hook that was looking for a
Yeah.
house. So he
Yeah.
probably figured, well, I can kill two birds with one stone here. And I said, okay,
Absolutely.
I see what it is. So I had to tell him now we will revisit this later. And
Yeah. You got to vet them, dude. You got to vet most
yeah,
of these
but I
folks,
see this
man.
dude
Because
every day, man. I see
yeah.
dude every day. I would never
Hmm.
expect that he would be like that thirsty on me, and this is what it is. So, we ain't as cool as we used to be. That's the shame about it. Brother didn't
Yeah.
man didn't give me a tip this year. So I know he was feeling some kind of way. What can I do, bro? And listen, I wasn't just gonna let you give me anything. You know what I mean? It's like, I
Yeah.
don't
It's a
know, man.
cold game.
Weirdness, man.
It's a cold game, man.
I tell
So
you, I tell you this though, if we ever do decide to sell, I won't be using that man.
and that's very
So,
easy. You know what I mean?
for sure.
We didn't really dig the realtor we had, for the house that we put a bid in. So it was kind of like a double-edged sword. I told my wife, I'm like, yo, it'd be nice if we got that house. I said, but it'd be bad if we got to deal with her because I don't really like how she flow.
Mhm.
and it's all good. So it didn't work out, and then like I said, she was like, "Hey, you got outbidded," and now. She goes, so what I'll do is I'll say, "No, no, 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 no." I said, "Look, don't worry about it." I said, "This is the end of our road." So, oh, what can another realtor do for you? I said, "Well, with the VA,
Mhm.
they're giving cash bonuses at closings for
Mhm.
our buying and selling." I said, "Now, if you can mess with that, we'll sign on." I said, "Do you give up cash bonuses?" "Well, no, I can't compete with." "All right, I holla," and that was the end of
Mhm.
that. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're moving on. So
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do, man. And people don't understand that they're out here trying to make money and make
hmm
whatever kind of business. Let me just say that any kind of customer business that you're in, anybody out here listening, if you're dealing with the customer, remember this: the customer service thing is right up there at number one. I don't care how good your business is. If you treat your customers, less than the best, I wouldn't expect that customer's business. And so I'm just saying, you know, if you out there and you got a business and you trying to get that business started, no matter what you do, you could be the smartest cat in the world. But if you don't know how to take care of your customers, it's highly probable that your business is not going to take off. I mean, it's going to have to be something that people really need. It ain't like you out here selling gas. If you
right.
selling gas, okay, I got to fill my car up. I got to hit you up. But unless it's or Pico, that's our electric company down here.
hmm
Or Comcast, that's our cable company. They can treat you any way they want to treat you. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
everybody else, y'all can't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the bottom line is the customer's always right, number one.
That's
And
right.
number two, the best and worst advertisement is word of mouth. So, you
Mhm.
burn some bridges, man, and somebody put the dog out on you, it can do some damage. Just like people can, uplift your name if you've had, flawless and courteous and prompt customer service, man. People will refer you to someone else and then you can eat like that. So yeah, it's very simple. You would think it is, but
Yeah. Well,
greed,
yeah.
man, greed blinds the
Well,
most, you know.
oh, so definitely, definitely. And I try to help people at that because I do work in customer service.
hmm
Being a letter carrier for the last, few decades. And I tell people all the time, I said, listen, if you got a problem with the service, just let me know. I said, and I'll do the best I can. I said, but you calling 1-800 USPS, that's not going to help you. I said, because at the end of the day, I'm the face you're going to see every single day. So whatever your issue is, make sure you talk to me. We'll work it out. And that's
Just
my
talk to
way.
me, man.
Yeah, just
Just
talk
talk
to
to
me.
me. It's
You know
all
what I mean?
good.
I go
Yep.
back office, I got yellow stickies on my thing. Well, you see me every day. Just say something. So
That's
that's to
all.
anybody
Yeah.
out there watching. If you got a mail carrier out there, you got a problem with them, as long as they're not a jerk, go ahead and have a conversation with them. I'm pretty sure they'll be willing to work with you. All right.
Absolutely.
Whatever your
Absolutely.
situation is, oh, I'm getting the wrong mail and this and that and the third. And
Okay, whatever. Let me know.
yeah, just let me know. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
What you
that's
telling
it.
them? What you telling somebody back here in the office for? What they gonna do for you? They're not gonna come out here and deliver this mail.
Nope.
All right, man. I was about to get on a postal rent. You don't want that, you know what I mean?
Nah, we definitely don't. Not with the
No,
history, y'all.
you're
You know,
exactly right, brother.
we
Exactly
don't want
right.
that.
Exactly right.
I'm
So
good.
yeah, so you getting about what we were talking about, what we did this weekend. I just went back to work today. I was off for 3 weeks, so today was
Mm,
finally my first day back, and pretty decent day. The
hmm
volume wasn't too bad, so it was pretty cool. But the big thing I guess this weekend was the whole super fight with what's the bull's name? Errol Spence and Bud Crawford. And one of the
Oh,
things,
before we continue, Don, before we continue,
sure.
rest in peace to Paul Rubens, man.
Yes, sir. You're
Pee Wee Herman passed away at 70 after a 6-year battle with cancer. He chose to keep it close to the vest and, stuff like that. But regardless of what you think of his comedy, he's a legend, man. Because it's like this dude did something no one else was doing. Okay. And it took off, and he had kids and grown folks. So, man, shout out to Paul Rubens. And then yeah, Pee Wee Herman, man, the Pee Wee dance had a rap song, all that after Pee Wee Herman. So man, shout out to Paul Rubens, man. I did enjoy him Saturday mornings, when I was hungover, coming back to the ship, Pee Wee's Playhouse would be on, and
hmm
Larry Fishburne was one of the, he was
Oh yeah.
Cowboy Jack or whoever the hell he was, and then Phil Hartman was on there, and all these cameos, all these, like I said, because once the show blew, stars wanted to be on it. It was almost like a Sesame Street thing. Hollywood says you ain't made it until you got a guest spot on Sesame Street. So Pee Wee's Playhouse was just like that. And man, shout out to him, man. Like I said, shout out, man. I really did. I liked him. As goofy as he was, man, I did like him. And I'm a child of the 80s, man. So he was a part of my life. It is what it is, man. It is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah, no doubt. Rest in peace to Pee Wee Herman. And it's funny, as you were saying that, I did hear that, and I was thinking, man, if we would have had our, our copyright, we could have came in with the Pee Wee Herman song. But
Yeah,
who
tequila.
even does that? Do you know who that is? Is that anybody that
Tequila.
we know?
It's a 60s group.
Oh, okay.
Tequila.
Does it have
Yeah, the
anything to do?
champs. The champs
Okay.
was their name. The champs. Yeah, tequila. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? That was him dancing on the bar in the movie, and next thing you know, Joe Ski Love make a joint, the Pee Wee
Mm-hmm.
dance. And hey man, listen, pop culture, man. If you spawn dances and songs, you're a legend.
Not only
End of
that, Mike,
story.
Bull also started a haircut.
No question.
The
People
Pee
were
Wee
rocking the
Herman
Pee Wee.
haircut.
They were right. Yeah, man had the little swoop in the front. A lot of the
Yeah.
boys and a lot of the Caucasians in the Navy had that joint, because they can get away with it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So yeah, man, Pee Wee icon, man. I don't care how goofy he was. And when you look at what happened to him later in his career,
Mm-hmm.
maybe he didn't play ball because they hit the man with an indecent exposure
Mm-hmm.
charge in an adult film theater. What are
Yeah.
people in there doing?
Yeah.
Dude, he wasn't in a Disney movie with kids around.
That's a
He was
great
doing
point.
the Irkin jerk, man, in a joint where that's all
Absolutely.
weirdos do. So
Absolutely.
I think that was a Pee Wee didn't play ball thing, so they had to spank him. I honestly think that's how it went down.
That's a
Because if you
shame.
think about it, Don, he was tied into children and children entertainment. What best way to get him than to
Mm-hmm.
paint him as a creep?
Yep.
And they
That's a
did him
good
in.
one.
They did him in, man. So yeah, Hollywood is a cold game. So he didn't say yes to something or didn't do a favor. And dude, anything we can get him on indecent exposure
Mm-hmm.
in an adult film joint.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you turn the lights on, half of the folks ain't got their pants up.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. That
Yeah,
was
that was a
crazy.
setup
Eh,
from the get up, man.
Yeah, and you're right. They did make him out to be a pervert, but like you say,
Mm-hmm.
you in a triple X rated house, so what do you think they're in there doing?
Yeah, when in Rome, bro.
Yeah,
Shoot, what you thought?
exactly. I'm pretty sure everybody in there was pretty greasy. So they
No doubt. Yeah.
what I mean?
But everybody in there wasn't Paul Rubens, so they
No.
so they so they got him. They got him.
Hey, listen. I know a few sailors that was up in them houses, boy.
Oh, absolutely. The quarter peep show joints
Oh
and all
yeah,
that,
it
man.
was in
Come on,
there.
man. Stop it. I visited them joints when I hit San Diego. I'm like, let me see what this all about. 25 cents for a movie? What? There you go. So
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, back to this weekend's event as far as the fight. Go ahead, bro.
Mm. Yeah, what'd you think about it, man? I mean, I know one of the things we were talking about in our group thread was just like about how, you know, fighting is boxing, fighting, whatever you want to say, is not the same anymore. There was a time when boxing was like probably one of America's most popular sport. I would say boxing at one time was probably top three. I mean, every bit as popular as like baseball and football. I think boxing was right up there.
I agree. But we're also talking about names. When you think about boxing, and I used to be a fan, so I'm definitely not as well versed on what's happening now versus when I was growing up, things like that. If you really think about boxing and you're talking about marquee fighters, you're talking two weight divisions. Okay, you're
Mm-hmm.
talking heavyweight first and foremost. You know what I mean? When you have a great heavyweight, even when the Klitschko's were dominating, people wanted to see either them lose or win. When Mike Tyson was dominating, you wanted to see him lose or win. Heavyweights, great heavyweights, always peak interest. In the second division, middleweights. Middleweights are the biggest, strongest boxers of the little guys.
Mm-hmm.
So we grew up in an era where, and you can throw welterweights in there for a tight third, just based on the fact that during our lifetime, the welterweights became middleweights. You
I
know
was
what I
gonna
mean?
say
And
that all
they
of them.
all followed each other. They
Yep.
all followed each other. So you talking about Sugar Ray, Hearns. I mean, Roberto Duran started out as a lightweight dude.
Hmm.
You understand?
Was
So
a killer.
when you talking about the Kings,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Those dudes followed each other through weight divisions. So therefore, there's rivalry. And you're talking about second tier fighters of that generation. You're talking about the Iran Barclays, Wilfredo Benitez, Esteban de Jesus. You're talking about all these dudes that could sneak up, and Esteban de Jesus floored Roberto Duran in his prime.
Hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So we're
Hmm.
talking about a group of dudes. Wilfredo Benitez gave Sugar Ray all the problems in the world. And Sugar
Hmm.
Ray, actually, his sister was going with Wilfredo Benitez during that fight. It was-
Wow, didn't
he
know
was,
that.
yeah, he was dating Sugar Ray's sister. So you talking
Mm.
about the Italian dude Antifermo used to give Hagler all kind of problems. You understand what I'm saying? You talking
Mm.
about an exciting division. And then, like you said, when we talk about heavyweights throughout our lifetime, we saw some of the best. We didn't see the Hall of Famers that came before us, of course, but at 56 years old, I was a kid when Ali was fighting, and I knew he was good. And then
Mm.
after that, you got Holmes, and then after that, it basically was Tyson after that. So um, it was
And
even competition in that, as great as they were, they had to beat people. So I just think
absolutely.
it's just, I just think it's different now. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, just to piggyback on what you're saying, it's like also you remember when we was coming up, boxing was always on. It was available too. We had
Hmm.
Wide World of Sports. We
Hmm.
had NBC Sports World with my man, I think Marv Albert, if I'm not mistaken, used to call the fights.
Marv
Uh,
Albert used to call fights. Bob Costas used to call fights.
and what was the bull's name that used to call the fights with Marv Albert? He was Muhammad Ali's cut man.
Angelo
Uh,
Dundee, or
no,
his
that was his
trainer. And
trainer. Pacheco, was that his name?
Freddie Pacheco, Dr. Freddie Pacheco.
Yep, Dr. Freddie
Yeah.
Pacheco. He would be on there,
Hmm.
and man, every Sunday you had a good match. Every Sunday. I mean, all them. I mean, you name it. Ray Mancini, Hagler, Camacho, Ray Leonard, Hearns, all of them, man. They all fought. And but back in them days, pay per view used to be something called I'm sorry, yeah, pay per view. Used to be able to used to have, it's called closed circuit. So
Closed
when you
circuit
had a
TV.
big fight, yeah,
Hmm.
you would have to go to like I know in New York they had a place called the Felt Forum, I think.
Yeah, you can go to a movie theater,
Yeah.
a bar, a movie house, or what anything. You know what I mean? And yeah, yeah, it was an event. It was really an
Mhm.
event. And like you said, as I mean, like HBO. HBO had
Yep.
marquee fights where
Big
you didn't
time.
your pay per view was your cable bill. If
Yep.
you paid that cable bill, you got to see that marquee fight. So I just think, and of course with the ascension of MMA, and of course the UFC, they put a dent in it. They put a dent in the appeal and the fan base as far as boxing. And like I said, I have no desire. I mean, somebody like Sean,
Hmm.
Sean is still a big time fight fan, and God bless him. But I haven't been that invested in many many years, so I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you who was who, but I knew enough about Crawford versus Spence that Crawford more than likely would beat him. You know what I mean? As I just looked over their history and who they fought and stuff like that. That's another thing. The golden era we talking about, dude, they fought everybody.
All the time. Yep.
They ain't duck nobody, dude.
Well, look at this. The thing that got me about this thing was like, okay, this boy Bud Crawford, the boy that dominated
Mhm.
Spence, he's 35. And I'm thinking, you waited this long to fight this boy? I mean, listen, man, when Sugar Ray Leonard was 35, these guys were basically cooked. When
Yeah,
Sugar
because
Ray
them dudes were first ballot Hall of Famers at 24 years old.
easily
Because they didn't duck anybody.
didn't duck nobody. And these
Nobody.
guys, you guys are halfway, you're almost 40 years old, and you just now fighting the best fight of your life. That's I mean, even say what you want about Floyd Mayweather. Say what you want to be
Mhm.
about Floyd. Even he fought
Mhm.
all comers. Now, it did take him forever to fight Manny Pacquiao. I will say that.
Pacquiao.
And a
Right.
lot of people will tell you that he fought Pacquiao when he was on the downside of his career, which is probably
Mhm.
true. So I kind of think that Floyd
And it was
actually,
smart.
oh, sure, because he didn't want
And it
to
was
mess up his
smart.
money. Yeah.
Right. On his undefeated record, or his
Hmm.
reputation. I get it. And Pacquiao was cool with just waiting because he knew he was gonna get broke off. It's a different game now. You know what I mean? It's a different game. It's so much business
But you know
that
what's crazy
dominates the
though?
sport.
I
What's
think
up?
what's crazy is that the only undefeated boxer in history, we don't really consider him to be the greatest boxer of all time. At least I know I don't. Rocky Marciano.
Rocky Marciano, Rocky Marciano, Rocky
Yeah.
Marciano. Every
He out
time you
here.
say around the white boys talking about Rocky Marciano.
Yeah.
So
He out here knocking out cab drivers. I mean, come on, man.
yeah, I mean he
Cab
beat a
drivers and
few. I mean he
plumbers.
beat. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean like I said, I mean he beat Jersey Joe Walcott, but Jersey Joe Walcott, they said they ain't never know how old that dude was.
You know what I thought you could
So
say? He whooped
what?
Joe Lewis's ass.
Yeah, and Joe Lewis was 90 or whatever the hell.
Exactly.
But yeah, so yeah, so but yeah, I mean he beat Ezra Charles, but Ezra Charles was a natural light heavyweight. He was not a heavyweight. Rocky Marciano was only 5'9", like
Mm.
210 pounds.
Hmm.
You understand? But he could hit like a truck. Um,
And he was
and
also backed by
everybody
the
could.
mob too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He's not going to lose.
Yeah.
He's not going to lose. You
Hmm.
know. But like when you're talking about the greatest, when we talk about middleweights as well, you're talking about the greatest middleweight to ever do it was Sugar Ray Robinson.
Absolutely.
Come on, man.
Who was his number one rival?
Man, Jake LaMotta.
All right, all right.
Jake LaMotta, dude. Are you kidding me? The last fight they had was St. Valentine's Day Massacre
Yes,
because he
sir.
beat the smack out of him. But
Hmm.
you never knocked me down, Ray. I never went down. You never went down, Ray. Yeah, so shout out to
Raging,
Bobby De Niro.
yeah, come
Still
on,
making
brother.
babies at 90 years old.
What?
Robert De Niro
Raging,
just had a baby, dude.
get out of here. Raging Bull.
He just had
I
a
find,
baby in his 80s, dude.
and she was a sister, wasn't she?
Mm-mm.
What?
I think he finally got a white girl.
Oh, okay. We got
Yeah,
to get Google proof of that because I find that hard to believe with Bobby
yeah,
D.
yeah.
Bobby D. He liked to dip in chocolate. So
Yeah, he was definitely for real with it. But yeah, man, he just had a baby, man. Him
wow.
and some other old dude, some other
Mm.
old actor, just had a baby. I'm like, but you know what, dude? I don't begrudge him, dude, because I know if I had hundreds of millions of dollars, I'd probably still be having kids. Wouldn't bother me one bit, man.
Well, yeah, that's true. As long as you can take care of them, right? Don't
Dude,
really.
wouldn't bother me one bit. That money gonna outlive me and them. So shit, why wouldn't I just have another damn kid?
Yeah,
You ain't gonna never take care of it.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, baby, I got another movie to do. I can't stick around for the kids. You know what I mean? I got something to do. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what that's gonna be. He gonna be in Goodfellas 12 or whatever it is, and he ain't gonna be raising no kids like that. So yeah, Smokey Robinson. I think his last kid was like 60 something years old when he had his last kid.
Yo, sidebar though. What was the movie he
Hmm.
was in last year? Bobby D. This last year, the last mob flick, him, Pacino, and Pesci. It was about my man, the Union guy. Oh
The
man,
Irishman.
yeah, the
Was it the
Irishman.
Irishman?
Yeah, what was the
Yeah,
Union? Jimmy Hoffa. So
Jimmy
Pacino
Hoffa
played
from the
Jimmy Hoffa. Yeah,
Teamsters. Yeah, the Teamsters. Yeah,
but
and
it was
yeah,
so sad to see De Niro. Years ago, you remember when he stomped out Billy
yeah.
Bats? He
Yeah, you
trying to
see when they
stop.
they CGI'd him. They've had to
Oh
put
man,
CGI on him and
he
all.
can,
I was like, this dude can't even lift his leg.
yeah,
Like
that was horrible, man. I said, come on, bro, this is ridiculous, man.
it was, man. And I
Just
understand, Scorsese. They all boys, man. So I
yeah,
understand what he was doing. But come on, man. You
unbelievable.
could have strictly CGI'd
Yeah,
Robert De Niro.
he could barely lift his foot up. He like,
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm
nah,
saying, dude.
man.
Now with a young face, a young computer
Mm-mm.
generated face. Stop it, man.
Yeah,
Stop it.
wasn't a
Yeah.
bad movie,
So
but it was probably like an hour too long. I thought. Yeah, that's the only thing
yeah.
about it.
Yeah, with me it was, it was cool, being a union dude and knowing the whole
Mm-hmm.
Hoffa story and being close to some Teamsters. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So it was kind of interesting, man. Even the movie Hoffa, Jack Nicholson, that was a good movie. That
Yeah, it
was a
was
good movie.
good. He was good in
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
absolutely.
I think I like his version of Hoffa just a little bit better than Al Pacino's. So
Oh, absolutely. Because Al Pacino is a caricature of himself now.
yeah,
All he does is yell,
that's
"Yeah,
that's it. Hoo-ha.
ah, ooh, just act like you're in the hood and your mama's ringing the dinner bell. Get out. That's not Al Pacino, man.
Wow. Yo, I'm impressed, man. Hicks is giving us some good he giving us some good in person. I didn't know you had that, Mike. You might gotta act there, brother. You got a good
Come on.
Pacino though.
I
Real
am a
good.
thespian. Come on, dude. No, you
That's
already know
good.
I'm an actor, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pacino.
Funny you said I was just watching Godfather 2 this weekend. I love that movie, man.
Yeah. Yeah, because even in that, he was kind of like, yeah,
Hmm.
and it was cool. It was a cool Al Pacino. But I think Son of a Woman kind of threw, just kind of,
Yeah.
they said, Al, just do that from now on, baby. and
Mm-hmm.
that's what a sell. Yeah, ooh ah. That's what he's doing now.
He
He's a
robbed your
caricature.
boy.
He's a caricature. Who that?
He robbed your boy Denzel that year. Denzel was up for
Yeah.
Malcolm X.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't gonna win.
Nah.
Spike Lee, and no, that wasn't gonna win.
Yeah.
Spike Lee, Denzel, and a movie about Malcolm X was not
Mm-mm.
going to wasn't gonna go over with the small hat crew. Wasn't
Mm-mm.
happening.
Yeah, that was a shame, man.
Mhm.
So he definitely, but he got his get back on that. But a lot of people would say, the role Denzel won for, Training Day, which is good. He was good in that, but feel like that was payback for not getting Malcolm X.
Right,
So
and he's better than that.
yeah.
But I think it was groundbreaking because it was Denzel playing a bad guy. He had never
Mm,
really played a bad guy. You know
mm-mm.
what I mean? Denzel's a good guy. He's always a good guy.
It's funny.
But he
I had an old coworker of mine. He was like, man, I don't, I don't be feeling Denzel because he don't ever want to play a bad guy. It's almost like he didn't think that Denzel was capable of playing a bad guy. Well, he got shown that Denzel can play.
well, Denzel just a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
Even the Equalizer stuff is cool because
Mm-hmm.
he's playing a cool dude in it. But I'm looking at him and I love Denzel, but he's getting old, man, because he's doing that Denzel frown too much in scenes. It's like, yo, so you came over there. That's what you said. You said that to her.
Well, see,
It's like,
hold up. It's not really fair because you already got that New York accent anyway. So that was,
so he
yeah,
was
that's
like,
just where you talk. So
yeah, he was like,
that was
yo,
good.
that's your car. That's your car. We're gonna go together. That's your car. You know what I'm saying?
I'm digging it.
You
This
know,
is good.
yeah. So that's Denzel, man. Love him. Love him, man. Because like I said, when he
Okay.
stretches,
Okay.
right, yeah, right.
I love-
Yeah, he was a dirt ball in that. I mean, it was just, yeah, to me it was even, I was taken aback because I love Denzel.
Mhm.
And when you think of him, you think of Cry Freedom, him playing Stephen Biko and The Rebellious Slave and Glory and Malcolm and man, when he was that bad cop, dude, I was like, oh boy.
But you know what's crazy
Eesh.
about it? I hate to say it, man, but when I was watching that movie, I couldn't root against him. At the end, I was like, kick his behind, kick his behind. When he was
No,
going
no,
against
I want
Ethan
to eat.
Hawke.
I want to eat the hawk to get him. Dude, he almost had the dude's head blown off by some Mexicans in a bathtub, and he did him so dirty, man. He just pulled off on him.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah, so no,
You're right.
F
You're right.
Denzel in that movie. Every other movie, Denzel, bro, I love you, man. No
I
question about
I
it.
gotta evaluate myself. Why would I root for Denzel in that movie? He did everything a person could do wrong in that movie. And I'm
A
talking about,
dirt
man,
bag, man.
only thing I'll say, don't kill him. But hey,
Yeah,
he
well,
got
he
the
did. Well, yeah,
Scarface.
right. Yeah, he went out, like that, man. But yeah, it was like, yeah, I mean, because he was such a dirt bag, man. Because he was just like almost crying, trying to, convince Ethan
Mm-hmm.
Hawke. Look, it will behoove you to take this money. Look, you make the guys feel better, man. Listen, I'll just hold it for you. I'll hold it for you.
Remember
You
what
gotta
he said?
understand, dude, man.
It's
He's
not
about to
what you,
cry.
it's not what you know.
It's what you can prove. But dude, he's about to cry. He was just like, all right, all right. Just patted him on his shoulder. I was like, what
Mhm.
a dirt bag, man. But just great acting.
Yeah,
Great
great
acting.
acting. Great acting.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Christopher Walken is one of my favorites too.
Oh yeah, Christopher Walken's great. He's great. It's funny. My movie with him is King of New York. That movie's good. I like him in that.
Underground legend, underground classic. Because
Mm-hmm.
it did not get the mainstream buzz it should have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh, you guys
No.
got fat while I was in the joint. Everybody else starved out here.
Mm-hmm. He was great in that. Fishborn was good in that. Wesley Snipes was good in that. Who else was in there? I'm missing somebody.
Wesley Snipes was a coon in that, man. He was a coon black Irish cop, dude. And he got when Christopher Walken whooped his ass at the car, I loved it. I loved it. Gave him a
He's
two-piece, man, and all that, man.
he had it coming,
If
didn't he?
someone's selling a nickel bag in the park, I want in. Yeah, I was just like, this dude is the best, man. I love Christopher Walken.
Yeah, he's great.
You say that, he just does all that. You say this is, he's remarkable, man.
And you know
Another
what's
New
crazy?
York dude.
And you know what's crazy about that movie is that movie really shed the light on dirty cops because them cops was dirty as hell, man, in that movie.
Scumbags,
And they
scumbag.
was scumbag cops.
And
Well,
you know
no,
who I don't like? I don't like, and I won't like him in real person. It's David Caruso, man. I just don't like
Oh
him, man.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
an unlikable dude, man.
He's a good actor though in them roles though. He
He
got
is, but
uh,
he's an unlikable
he's
dude,
good,
man.
man. He's good. That guy is good. Old David Caruso. What is he? A redheaded Italian? I never got
Yeah,
him. What?
yeah, no, yeah, he is a red-headed Italian,
Yeah, that's
a
strange.
northern Italian. They're usually red-headed and blue-eyed in the north part of Italy. So
My
yeah,
man thought he
yeah,
was going to have a career after he left NYPD Blue. He thought he was going to blow that thing up. Remember? That was like a big deal when he left NYPD Blue.
yeah,
He
man,
left
because he
that
left
joint.
it at his peak. He was hot. He was
Yep.
that dude, and
Yeah,
it
he
was
didn't.
just like, yeah, yeah, he would just be catchphrase and stuff, and then the music would come on.
Yeah, yeah. Another movie.
This,
Caruso's my favorite Caruso. What you got?
there's been a murder, and then the music would come on. It was just like someone got shot here. Ding! It was like, dude, that's okay. All right,
Oh
whatever.
man, that's hilarious, man.
Like with
He
Ice
was.
T, same thing.
Oh, poor Ice. Ice
Yo,
don't.
man, there was a murder at the scene last night, and then the music would just play, and
Dum
that was
dum
it for
dum
his
dum
scene.
dum.
But I love Ice T because, dude,
Yeah,
he getting 500,000 an episode just like everybody else, and
yeah.
doing the least acting.
Doing least acting. Yeah, he was good,
Yeah, all
man.
he doing is dyeing that hair, man. That's all he doing.
Yeah, Ice T ain't never been known for his acting, man. But he had some, if I think Ice T, I think New Jack City.
And it
Scotty,
was but it was
Scotty.
so groundbreaking that he again, Ice-T is the most brilliant dude in Hollywood, dude. He gets away with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a
Yeah.
great actor. He's
Nah.
not even a great rapper, but he's still relevant, man. So you gotta
Mm-hmm.
I love Ice-T's hustle. He's a
Yeah.
hustler, man. Gotta give
H
it to him, man.
Hustler. Hustler.
Gotta give it
No,
to
no,
him,
no, no,
man.
no.
So
New
yeah.
Jack Hustler. Yeah, he's a beast, man.
Gotta give it to Ice-T, man. Love him. Love
Man,
him.
look, we had a whole rundown here, man. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying us talking about these movies, man. That's cool though, man. But your Ice T, yeah.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
will,
It
all
was
right.
dope, man.
Well, what you might well just we might well just hit on Ice Cube. What you think about Ice Cube? He's been in
I
the news a lot lately.
Yeah, Ice Cube he's an elite now.
Mm-hmm.
He's an elite, man.
Mm-hmm.
Um, his heart may be in the right place, and I feel it is.
Mm-hmm.
But when you reach a certain tax bracket in this society, bro, you know, smart people for the money, um, regular people in society, we really don't. I guess we don't really listen to the rich. When it comes to the terms of an everyday struggle, I can't. I can't listen. You may remember what it was like, but you're not living it now, bro. You haven't lived it in a long time. You know what I mean? But as far as him getting involved in politics and stuff like that, I think it's good to an extent. I really do. But he's an elite now, bro. He's an elite. Let's face it.
Yeah, he is, and I appreciate his opinions because I think that really he says a lot of stuff. I think we've said on here. One thing he said that I really appreciated it when they talked about the whole Bud Light thing,
Hmm.
and like me and you was talking, I think a couple episodes back, and he asked a really good question. He said, ultimately, who does that hurt? Is that going to hurt the guy at the top of the food chain at Bud Light? He said, no, that's going to hurt the guy that the delivery drivers, the guys
Yeah.
in the
The dudes that
warehouse.
work at the Bike factory and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Yes, I
Yeah,
agree.
you think the guy at the top of Anheuser-Busch cares if you drink Bud Light or not? He don't care. Matter of fact, he might have
Dude.
been behind the controversy. If you think about it.
Right. Right. And controversy sells.
Right.
So him and the marketing team were just like, yo, get Dylan, whatever that dude's name is, to do it. And there you go. So
Right.
it's all a game. It's all a
All the
game. But
game,
yeah, Ice
man.
Cube. Yeah, yeah, it's a cold game. I like Ice Cube. I've always liked Ice Cube. No question about it, man. And being out in San Diego in the mid to late 80s, when they broke, I
Hmm.
was right there. So I got a kinship with Ice Cube. I was there when they
Oh
broke,
yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. NWA. Yep.
Dude, I was there when they broke, and it was like nothing I had ever heard before.
Yeah.
So you got to give them credit, man.
It's funny you
But
say
to
that
that,
because.
yeah, it's sad too, though, man. At the same time, because they introduced a genre
Yep.
that
Gangster rap.
people just went because theirs was gangster rap, but it was basically social commentary. So
Mm-hmm.
I gave them credit because I was able to really decipher what was what when they came out. I kind of listened to them and then kind of put my ear to the ground about what was happening, and right up the road from us. We were San Diego. San Diego was not Los Angeles, not by a
Mm-hmm.
stretch. And going up there with Mike Hansey, for the weekends to hang out with him and his family, stuff like that. I really got to see some stuff that I didn't see in San Diego. So that made me really appreciate NWA that much more. So yeah.
Well, it wasn't LA, but brother, they definitely had their share of Jerry curls out there. The Bloods and
Oh
the
yeah,
Crips,
they had gang.
they
Yeah,
was
they had
they
stuff
was
like
in
that.
about 4 or 5 Park in San Diego.
Yeah,
Yeah,
45th and Logan, bro. Used to be
yeah,
there all the
man.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I never understood it. I never understood it, man. I was like, what drew us to 45 Park, man? Knowing 4 or 5 Park, knowing base liquor, you know, and they were basically in. If you anybody out there that is ever in the Navy, we say base liquor, we say 4 or 5 Park. That's definitely gonna ring a nostalgic bell in your head, man.
For
But
a
that was,
San Diego, for a San Diego serviceman, no question.
yep, yeah,
If you're on 32nd Street, you already you know about all that stuff.
yes, sir.
You know, if you were at Miramar or Coronado, you might not have frequented them spots too much. But if you coming right off of 32nd Street, you walk right up the joint, they go bait liquor right down the corner. Liquor store where we used to all gather and our cars and stuff like that, get drunk and then drive. It's
Yeah,
just stupid
and
stuff.
listen, Mike said a very key word there: drive. You don't want to
Drive.
be walking home from four
Oh
or five
no.
Park at nighttime.
No, that was never an option.
Yeah,
Ever.
well,
You was riding with somebody or whatever. You just didn't do that. You didn't walk the streets of San Diego.
put it like
You
this:
know.
if you did walk up there, you was gonna get some exercise before the night was over because you was probably gonna get chased up out of there. I
Yeah,
guarantee.
you was gonna boogie.
You was gonna
You
definitely
might have been
boogie.
you might have been all Navy in the 100 after that joint a few
No
trips
doubt
there.
about it. I don't care what you say out there. If you get chased by some Bloods, you gonna definitely run. Bloods or Crips or whatever they are. You
Yeah.
was gonna run back in the day, man, because them jokers was crazy out there, man. So
Yeah. Yeah, they was gonna
yeah,
get you.
man. And we had an interesting uh I guess chat yesterday in the group thread. One of our Navy friends, Ray, uh, is from Chicago, and he was commenting on, I guess I guess there was a mass shooting in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. I think
Yeah, it was
7 people were killed or something like that, or 7 people were shot. Which one was it? You remember?
well, the Post yesterday said that 7 women
Mm-hmm.
were shot in Chicago. I want to say it didn't say the day, but let me pull it up real quick.
Okay.
All
And
right, so
anyway,
it said, go ahead, brother.
I know I was going to say this while you were talking. So as Mike brings that up, we were just talking about what are the causes and all that of what are the causes of these murders, and violence, particularly in these inner city neighborhoods. And so that was one
Okay,
of the things we were just.
so what it said, Don, it was a Chicago media outtake post that said, uh, report of 7 women shot on the west side a few moments ago in a mass shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So, so that's what that said. So your question was what, brother? I'm sorry, I was reading.
I guess I guess they were talking about in the thread. We were talking about in the thread how to address it and things like that, and what's the cause of it and all that. Just
Hmm.
my personal feeling on a lot of it, and you know, and I can only speak to it from my own perspective, and I guess from what I've seen up here.
Hmm.
I think it all comes back to economics when you talk. You know, I think that has a lot to do with it. I think economics is probably
Economics
number one
does
thing.
play into it.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
piece of it was a piece of
Mhm.
that puzzle we're talking about. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, but then that's where it used to be. All right, when we were talking about like back in the days when Joe Biden was, and Bill Clinton were creating the assault weapons ban. That's because crack cocaine had took over our communities, and there's a lot of those kind of shootings. And if you remember, that was back in the day when they came up with the term super predator, largely to describe young black men, black and brown men in the hood. So anyway, in that era, I would say that was probably a lot to do with finances in that area, the drug game and all that. But today, I'll be honest with you, man. These young folks are different out here today, man. You might get shot if you post something crazy about them on social media. You might get shot, if you post the wrong TikTok, anything.
Hmm.
It's not about just
Hmm.
being in the drug game anymore. That used to be a thing, and it probably still is to a degree. I think we can still say that, but it's just different. And because of the proliferation of guns in the community, I mean, you could get shot for anything. It don't necessarily have to be just drug game. It could be anything.
Right. And the thing that's so shocking is that how many quote unquote drug related shootings do you really hear about anymore?
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Because you're talking about the 80s and
Right.
90s. That's what a majority of the murders in any urban area were based on.
Mm-hmm.
Drug territory, gang rivalries, what have you, what have you, have you. And um, there was there was there was a code amongst most gangsters. Even then, um, they were more apt to not. These are just the ones that I knew personally.
Mm-hmm.
That had done some things. Some of them had, been incarcerated. Some of them had murdered people. Some of them had died. But when they were moving about, right, wrong, or indifferent, many of them that I knew personally had a problem with somebody, they would never fire into a crowd. They would find
Mm-hmm.
that person on their own. Do you understand what I'm saying? They would never attack somebody in front of their family. They would never do, you know what I mean? So there was a code now. That was code then, rather. But now it's just like you said, it's just the ascension of the non-important importance of social media in people's lives, man, has taken away our critical thinking process. Okay, we're triggered by what we see on a screen. A lot of times we're triggered by people that we don't even see on that screen that say something that may not even be directed to us, but since we're affiliated with somebody it may be directed to, it's a call to take up arms. You take up arms, man,
Mm-hmm.
and go. It's listen, man. Now, when we talking about the politicians, like you mentioned earlier,
Mm-hmm.
do you know the '94 crime bill? Do you know why that was passed and who really pushed that?
I believe it
From
was
its
Joe.
gr- from, no, from its grassroots beginning. You know who pushed that?
Who was it?
Inner city black politicians.
Okay, true that.
You understand?
Yeah.
They went to Congress and said something's got to be done about. But here's the thing:
Yep.
they telling Congress there need to be something done about crack, and
Mm-hmm.
we all know how crack got here.
Right. Unbelievable.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So they were the ones who had the good intention to get the government involved with this, and it wound up backfiring on us. You know, and then when you look at the damage that crack has done to our community, that we're still suffering for. This is a drug from the '80s
Yep.
that we still have scars for, and scars from. Jail was your rehab. Now with the opioid epidemic, which is predominantly not affecting us,
Mm-hmm.
let's help the children.
Right.
Let's get them rehab. Let's get them help. Let's give them hope. You see what I'm saying? So now, because of pharmaceutical companies being one of the catalysts behind the opioid epidemic now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's happening to people who have, let's be honest now, it's happening to people that got good insurance.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You can get a bottle full of lower tabs because you got Cadillac insurance. So you got 90 of them at a time. You might only took 10. Now you got 80 in your cabinet, and now your kids are experimenting. Then then you find out, then you say, stop it, stop it, stop it. By then your kids are hooked. Now they got to go find a cheaper fix for that. And that's where the
And,
heroin comes in.
and that's what the sad part is, because now, unfortunately, because the opiates don't affect the black community like that. Now it's become like this major, as Mike said, epidemic. And
Yeah, let's stop this. Let's save our children.
mhm. But when
No
we
one was saving us from crack.
nope.
We was going to
And
jail behind crack, bro.
let me tell you something, man. My first time I ever even experienced a crackhead was in San Diego, or somebody addicted to crack. Let me say it the proper way. And
Right.
just like we were talking about 32nd Street, Base Liquor, I remember one time when I first got out there to San Diego, it was a beautiful sunny day. Listen, if you live on the Northeast back in the day, the late 80s, when you think of a bad neighborhood, at least my perspective, I used to think about the projects, all right? Big, tall,
Yeah,
crazy looking
it had a
project
look to it.
yeah, with graffiti everywhere. That's what I'm
It
thinking. I'm
had a
saying,
look to it,
so
no doubt.
I'm out here walking around in San Diego with ranch homes, beautiful and sunny, grass was cut. I'm like, yeah, this is a nice neighborhood. Next thing I know, I start seeing kids riding by with bandanas, and then next thing you know, you're getting solicited uh by people that are by ladies that are addicted to that stuff and was willing to do anything for it. I'll do this for $5. I thought that stuff was just in a movie, man. I'm telling you, that stuff really did exist, and it tore our communities up, man. It tore the black communities up, the inner city black communities. And when you start talking about shows like Snowfall, one of the things that bothered me about that show Snowfall, and I did watch it, but how they tried to act like Franklin was a hero. If you're familiar with that show Snowfall, you understand that Franklin, who was the star of the show, basically benefited from the CIA dumping crack into the community because he was the one that was getting the crack, okay, and he was just made millions of dollars, and that's supposed to be based off the true story of Freeway Rick Ross, not the rapper, but the
Hmm.
real Rick Ross,
The
okay.
real Rick Ross, yeah.
Yeah, but in my opinion, he was a villain. The man was a villain, and it's a shame how we glorified him. But anyway, nonetheless, it wasn't an epidemic back then. It wasn't an epidemic back then, like opioids are today. Like they're making
No, it
it a big
wasn't
thing
labeled
now.
one. It was an
Right.
epidemic, but it wasn't labeled one.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? I mean, because it was a custom fit. It was a tailored fit for the downtrodden in the city, based on the fact that, me being from Buffalo, New York, this is one of the great migration destinations, man, once upon a time.
Mhm.
We had steel factories here. That we had Buffalo was popping, okay? Because like I said, you go a few generations back, ain't nobody's grandparents or parents from Buffalo, a lot of my generation. They came here for the jobs and the opportunities. You understand? But when the 80s came along, when Reaganomics came into effect, I mean, the hometown that Pierce is from, Lackawanna, was the baby Pittsburgh. They used to call it the baby Pittsburgh once upon a time. Bethlehem still employed over 15,000 people in a town of what, 40,000? You dig what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And when the United States government chose to buy steel from China, man, instead of buying it from right here in Lackawanna, man, there you go. So when you're talking about men who were breadwinners,
Right. Driving
those kind
Mary.
of jobs, yeah, those jobs allowed us to do leave it to beaver stuff.
Mhm.
I remember a lot of my friends' mamas not working because they daddy worked at Bethlehem Steel or General Motors or Ford or General Mills or Republic Steel or Dunlop or DuPont or all these spots was popping, man. You know, General Electric, Westinghouse, we had those here. So everybody's dad was working, man, getting that good money. But when that dried up, you're also talking about jobs that really never required any type of education.
Yeah.
Okay, because you're talking about our parents and that generation before them, they were walking right out of high school going into these jobs and getting married at 19, like we used to do back in the day, and
Mhm.
start a family because you could sustain a family on that one good income. But when that stuff started happening, man, and it started drying stuff up, it was the perfect opportunity for my generation and some of them folks, some parents, started selling this stuff, man, just to make ends meet or to keep up where they were. You understand? And then most of us are selling it. I mean, us as men. So we are the ones going to jail, creating more broken homes that were already in the hood. You understand what I'm saying? You come out now, you ain't got no job prospects, can't vote, you're labeled. Dude, recidivism is real. So you mess around, try to get back in the game, you going back in now, you're going in for good.
Yep.
So yeah, it was horrible what it did to our community, and no one came to save us, you know. But us as a community didn't save ourselves, just like we don't do now.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree with that, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying. And I think, unfortunately, this is where politics can sometimes get in the way, because sometimes you get into these political things, and it's like common sense isn't even being like implemented. Now, just let me just give you an example. Some people might not like this, and I know that a lot of our people particularly don't like it. But I live in an area, major city, Philadelphia, 263 murders so far. You talk about Chicago, Philly don't have to take a backseat to anybody. That's why they call it Philadelphia. And but anyway, one of the things that I believe is taking place in the city of Philadelphia, and I know this because I'm friends with a couple, black police officers down in the city, and they really are not happy with the job that the DA is doing because he's so liberal in his approach to policing. But the reality is, it's not like it's not like you don't want to treat these people like animals. But the reality is, you have a certain segment of society down here that is threatening, the other segment of society. Like not every young black male is a homicidal individual. And so how can we go about policing these people? I don't think I'm, if you don't agree with me, feel free to reach out to us here at the at Underway Podcast. We also are on Twitter now, so you can find us on Twitter. Tweet
Yeah,
at me.
leave some comments, man. We're open to it.
Yeah,
We can take
yeah.
it.
Or Instagram as well. But anyway, I don't think there's anything wrong with stop and frisk to a degree. To a degree. If you're out here, if you're of a certain age, and I hate to say it because it's going to come into that whole idea of racial profiling. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day, I mean, what else can you really do? If you're in a certain place at a certain time of day or night, and you're not supposed to be there, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's difficult, man. I understand that stop and frisk was a big deal. I know Sharpton was totally against it, and a number of other, uh, you know, um, liberal.
This is an outrage.
Yeah, it's an outrage. But I don't know, man.
But
I don't know.
I know what you're saying
I mean, what
when we're
else can you
talking,
do though? If you got
right,
like,
when,
look, we
yeah,
almost got 300 murders, man, and it's only
I know
freaking
what you're
August.
saying. As far as, it's almost like the old broken windows policy back in New York back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Where Giuliani, you know what I mean, was doing a lot of stop and frisk. Um, Broken windows basically came from the concept of landlords. You know what I mean? If they had broken windows, you know what I mean, you find them and find them until they got them fixed and things like that. So stop and frisk, I get it. But even like you just said, unfortunately, those people are opening up avenues for me or you to be stop and frisked, man. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying? And you talking about a situation that, of course, we're law abiding citizens, but we're only human, man. You know what I mean? You may catch me on the wrong day. You know what I mean? When I just drove past people who I know I ain't have to stop and frisk and know they got some drugs and guns on them,
Mm-hmm.
and you roll by them to come frisk me. You see what I'm saying? So what I think, I know what you're saying, but I think it just opens up a can of worms where, like you said, it's already affecting the civilian. It's already affecting the law-abiding citizen. You know what I mean? So, I think one of the things I think they should do is reinstitute the draft, now.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, definitely.
Reinstitute the draft. The following September, after you graduate high school, if you are not in a community college or state college or gainfully employed, you're going. Done. You're going. We'll give you a 2-year joint. We'll give you a 2-year stint.
Yeah, I don't think there's any. I think that's what should happen. That's what Israel does, and I'm sure other countries as well. It's
Dude,
mandatory. It's
yeah,
actually
yes.
mandatory that you have to serve your country.
Yeah, China, things like that. Yes, countries
Mm-hmm.
like that. But I think we should reinstitute the draft, uh, to, like I said, because you got some people that are just absolutely against going into the military. They may enroll in a trade school or just to avoid that. You understand what I'm saying? But the
Mm-hmm.
thing is, we keep tabs on the, after 1 year of college and you drop out, you still eligible for the draft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there are things that we could do. Um,
Let
but
me
as men, we got to do better.
100%. And let me just I got this from ACLUPA.org. It says stop and
Yep.
frisk is shorthand for investigative detention. It means that a police officer can detain on the spot any person that a police officer suspects to be engaged in illegal behavior, and then frisk or pat down that person if the officer believes the person is armed. So actually, that is the law in PA. I guess it is taking place. So, if that's really taking place, then it's not changing, it's not lowering the homicide rate in
It's not
Philadelphia.
deterring anything.
It's not
So you
deterring
know what I
anything.
mean? Yeah. We got to come up with some other solutions. But like I said, I think one of the first things they should do is reinstitute the draft, man. I think we just got to do, because like you said, what did we just talk about the last show? We talking about the shortage
Mm-hmm.
of people in these armed forces. So with our situation brewing with these other countries, be it, Russia, Ukraine, or whatever, whoever business we in the United States, you want to put some bodies in it instead of putting bodies in these privately owned prisons, put them in our government's armed forces.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's definitely interesting. Now that and I'm gonna have an epiphany right on the podcast. When I look at what it really is, I guess I'm not sure that that's really what I want to see happen, but I just feel like something's got to happen. Something has got to happen. They got to
You're
figure
talking.
out
You're speaking out
something.
of desperation.
Yeah,
You're speaking out of
exactly.
desperation, right? So I understand that. You know what I mean? You're speaking out of desperation. You know, I I'm a gun owner
Mm-hmm.
out of desperation, Don.
But see,
I
you're a
like guns.
responsible. You're a
Yeah,
legal,
but
responsible
right.
gun owner.
But I like guns, but I don't love guns.
Right.
I wish I didn't have to own guns, Don.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? I wish I didn't.
100%.
I wish I didn't. Once upon a time, I did not.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I was in the streets in my early 20s, in the early 90s, man, running the streets and having a good time, I wasn't involved in none of that street shit. So therefore, I was almost covered by the streets because Mike ain't involved in that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean by that code. So I had friends who were drug dealers, you know, uh, stick up kid, all these dudes I knew, a lot of these dudes I grew up with. But I was protected by the simple fact that, oh man, Mike Square, he worked, he ain't in the game, man. Don't touch a hair on his head. So that's just how that went. Now, my generation is 56. We almost most some of us 60.
Mm-hmm.
So these dudes don't know Mike Hicks out here.
100%.
So I steer clear of them, but at the same time, I'm infiltrating the school system to
Yeah.
be able, you understand what I'm saying, to make a Mike Hicks known to them and to let them know that a Mike Hicks cares about them, so they don't have to go a certain path. But the ones that's already out there, bro, dude, I hardly even acknowledge these cats. Hardly, because you just don't even know who you dealing with anymore. Yo, what's up, man? How you doing, young man? Young man, nigga, who the fuck you? That's how quick
Mm-hmm.
and that's how sick our people are, dude. I just said hello to you, young blood. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
you ready to
100%.
get down? So it's terrifying, man.
And that was
And
unheard. What you just said, that's unheard of. Because when we were coming up, I mean, I'm sure it was where you're from. I know you would never talk to no older. Not even gonna say. I'm not even gonna say elderly black person. And I ain't gonna say
older.
that.
How
Yeah,
about man? How about
yeah,
man?
an older
How
man,
about man? Let's just
older
go
man
with
or older
man.
woman. You
That's
weren't
right.
gonna disrespect them, and if you did, you had problems when you got home.
At
But
all,
today's
dude.
kids, there's no respect. And to me, let me just say this: you can't blame that on the other man. I know that's popular. That's a popular approach
No.
that sometimes we have in our community. We want to blame everybody else. Listen, man, it's your opportunity. I mean, it's not your opportunity. That's not the word I want to say. It's your
Your
responsibility,
obligation.
your
Yeah, your
obligation. Your
obligation. Right.
responsibility is to raise your own children. You know, and a
Hmm.
lot of now they got this new thing out here now, whereas they want to criticize parents and how fathers are raising their children. I mean, you know, they was on Dwight Howard because he had his kids out here running. I mean, he was putting them through drills and the kids was crying.
Yeah.
He was letting them know.
Toughen this dude up, man.
Yeah,
What
he's like,
what was what was standard? That was standard procedure when we grew up, dude.
are you kidding me? We're gonna sit there and get on Dwight Howard because he's telling his kids to push it. I mean, to push yourself. Don't give up. Don't quit.
Right.
And we're gonna tell Dwight Howard, a man who's out here taking care of his kids, that's not the way you're supposed to do it. Another guy I was watching yesterday on Instagram, and I forgot the guy's name, but basically, This dude is raising his daughter like an acrobatic type of cheerleader type thing. He's throwing the little girl in the air and showing her how to do it.
Hmm.
And you
People
wouldn't
hollering
believe
abuse.
abuse. Look at her face. She looks scared. And I mean, come on, y'all. Raise your own
See,
household.
see, social media and the internet have
It's,
allowed everybody to get into our business, man.
yeah, too much. It's ridiculous.
What
And
went
then,
on in our house used to be going on. It used to go on in our house, Don.
right.
You remember your mother telling you, you don't be out here telling my business.
100%. And this
You
idea
remember
that,
that.
yeah. Listen, you'd be glad that your parents, your grandmom, aunt, uncle, whatever, when you was doing something wrong, they tightened you up. Yeah, I mean, I
Somebody
know that's
else's
not
parents could tighten you up.
it's not politically correct to say that, but here's the reality. The reality of you don't get tightened up at home, somebody on the streets is going to tighten you up. Is this the
Without
reality of it?
question.
So you
Without
rather let it
question.
happen to you at home, so you learn, right? Respect. So you learn, how to talk to other folks. The whole nine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That
But
stuff at
we live in
home
this
teaches you how to move.
exactly. It teaches you how
It
to
teaches
move.
you how to move out here in this society,
100%.
you know. And so now we're letting the inmates run the asylum in our community.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm
100%.
saying? That I'm not fearful of young men, young black men. I'm not fearful of them, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
very wary of them. You understand what I'm saying? I'm wary of them. Okay?
And another thing,
And
Mike.
and it hurts me. It hurts me that I carry a gun, man. And more than likely, God forbid, and God protect me on this, please. But more than likely, if I had a confrontation, I would have it with one of my people. You
Yeah, it's a
understand what I'm
shame.
saying? And that
Yeah.
saddens me. That saddens me. Because the last thing I ever want to do is shoot anybody, anything. I don't want to do that, man. I don't even like I told you, I don't like the fact that I had to get guns. I got females in my house now.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? When it was just me, it was all good. But when you become a husband and a father, man, you'll protect them at any cost, man. So even at the cost of discomfort, I don't like carrying a gun, Don. I don't. I
Yeah.
don't. And it's sad that it forced me into that kind of behavior, man. Responsible gun owner or not, bro, I don't like it. And I don't like what the world has become to make me suit up like that. I just don't like that.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's almost like I hate to use that familiar term, but it's like kill or be killed in this type of, and we got to get out of that type of mentality that we're living in. But we're not going to never get no. At the same time that you're talking about this, we understand that we're not going to never get no reasonable gun laws passed. That's probably not going to never happen because it's
No.
become too political. And like we said, this is another one of them things they use to divide us. Without really addressing the real issue.
Right.
So
Right.
it's crazy out here, man, for sure. And
It's
it,
sad, man.
it is. But when I listen to and I watch, music nowadays, I'm not, when you listen to what is being fed into our kids, our kids' minds and into their and literally into their spirits, man, it's nothing positive about it. I mean, I don't listen to hip hop no more. It's not that I don't enjoy hip hop. I still love hip hop. I still can listen to Big Daddy Kane. I still can listen
Yeah.
to
But
Rakim.
this is not hip hop what we talking about.
Yeah, what they're doing now, bro, that is not hip hop. I'm sorry, it's not. Y'all can say what you want to say, but this kind of garbage that's being played right now. I mean, I'm sorry, it's not hip hop. That's not LL. That's not
No,
KRS
man.
One. You couldn't even have a rapper like KRS One come out right now. He would be called corny. That's what's
This is
crazy.
what that right. Teaching you about your history and yourself. That's corny. Little Kim, who shocked the shit out of us when she hit the scene,
Mm-hmm.
would be lame today.
That's absolutely.
Little Kim would be lame when you got songs like WAP out here, man. And I know that's
Yeah.
an old song, but when women are constantly talking about objectification and this and that, these women are made heroes by y'all. Not by all women, but let's face it, that's a female fan base that they're talking to and encouraging. And they're talking to little girls, dude.
Yeah.
Talking to
Yeah.
babies, man.
Yeah. You got your your little your daughters and your nieces out here talking about Pound Town and all this other nonsense.
Yeah, Pound Town and all this other bullshit. Are you kidding me, man?
Yeah.
Promiscuity, drug taking, all this other. I mean, it's just it's tragic, man. What's happening to our people, man?
And just so y'all don't
Tragic.
think, listen, just so y'all don't think I'm out here just talking. This one song by this girl, this song Pound Town that I just quoted. Here's some lyrics. My coochie pink, my booty whole brown. I mean, this, and then the rest I won't even bother reading because it's crazy.
That was enough right there, bro.
Yeah, it's just that's what they're talking about now. It's just
There was no creativity in there.
none.
That was not poetry.
That was
That was
garbage.
nothing artistic about that, man.
Nothing at all.
So
Man.
yeah, we are in a battle, man. But like the word says, man, we don't battle against flesh, man. We battle against principalities, man.
That's right.
And Satan is running amok in this joint, man.
And I don't know if you saw it a couple weeks ago. Former President Barack Obama puts out his list of books and music that he's listening to, and he had the nerve to have one of them old trashy hip hop songs on what he's listening to. And I'm thinking to myself, Barack,
And
you
he's
are lying. You are
And he's
lying.
lying.
You know
You're
you
lying.
Yeah, come on, bro.
Somebody
Stop
told
playing
you.
with me.
Somebody told you to put that up there, dude.
Yeah, I mean this is what I'm saying, and that's the sad part in our community, that we'll sit here and say, oh yeah, well look what I'm listening to Pound Town by Sexy Red. Okay, bro, I don't believe that you are. I think
No,
you just
dude.
talking, man. Who are you trying to appeal to? You don't even need to win voters no more.
And who told you to do that, bro? Who told you to do that?
Right. I don't
You know
even
what I'm
think.
saying?
I doubt his
Who
kids
told you to
even
do
told
that?
him to do that.
No,
It's
they don't. Listen, man. The puppet masters told him to do that, man.
yeah. It's just
Because the puppet masters are telling him to stay visible. Dude, I've been the president for 8 years. I went in looking like Sidney Poitier and came out looking like Uncle Ben on the rice box, motherfucker. I don't want nothing to do with this stressful ass job no more. I'm going to Martha's Vineyard. Me and my wife just gonna ride off to the sunset. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're gonna continue to lie to the people and continue to lie to your people.
Absolutely.
That's what you're gonna do. That's what the puppet masters have done, bro. Where's George Bush at? Chilling.
Exactly.
Ain't heard nothing from that dude. Nothing.
How about that? You ain't lying. And you
When
barely
you
don't hear
when
from
the
Bill
last
Clinton
time
either.
When you heard from W?
Yep.
You ain't heard nothing from W.
None of them. They
Bill
chilling.
Clinton. Yeah, Bill Clinton. Hillary chilling. But here they got you out here.
Yeah. Talking
lying.
crazy. Lying.
Lying.
It's a shame, man. It really is a shame. And the sad part is the reason that, that it's so powerful and sad for us is because, listen, these are, whether we like it or not, these are the people that they have speaking on behalf of our community out here. You know what I mean? And generally, I think, hey, President Obama, I think he's done a great job. But when you come out here and you tell me that you're listening to that type of filth, I just don't believe it, man. I think you're trying to pander and cater to, whoever, like Mike is saying. I mean, who are you trying to pander and cater to? And you're far too intelligent to be doing
You're
that.
Ivy League elitist, bro.
100%. There's no way in the world.
You're Ivy League elitist. You and Michelle, man. So guess what? You don't have to do that in theory, but somebody made you do that.
Yeah, it's something else, man. It's something else. And I was just thinking about you watch that show Godfather Harlem at all?
I have before, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, they got a new dude that played the Malcolm X character. I don't know if you've seen it. This is the latest season.
No, the other guy was good.
Man, that other dude was off the chain. But this new dude, first and foremost, his rug ain't working. His look ain't. It's not. Yeah. But anyway, I only bring that up to say, Malcolm X was a real leader. All right. And one thing Malcolm preached to the Black community, responsibility starts with self. You know what I mean? It starts with yourself. And if you notice, those type of leaders, they don't get pushed no more. In fact, if you talk that way nowadays, they'll call you a conservative. If you talk that way nowadays, they'll call you a Republican. I mean, think about it, man. Think about it. If you
Dr.
say no,
King was a Republican, man.
Right. It's like, listen, it starts with yourself. You know what I mean?
Yep. Absolutely.
It starts with ourselves, man. We're the ones that can fix our own communities. You know what I mean? We're the ones that can fix our own problem, but it's got to start with ourselves, man.
How am I going to pull myself up by my bootstraps and I ain't even got no boots? That's nigga talk, man.
Right.
The nigga talk, man. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not special, Don. You're not special, man. But
Right.
we made choices, man. We made choices, man. We made choices to go out here and work every day. We made choices to be husbands, to be fathers, man. We made these choices. We made choices to stay with our families, man. It's choices. Don't talk that old I ain't got no boots, coon shit.
But
I
you
don't
know,
want to hear that, man.
and the crazy part is the people that say what you just said, like Farrakhan, agree with him or not on certain things. But
Mhm.
he's also somebody that'll speak what you just said. How it starts within our own communities, how we gotta lift our own
Without
selves up.
question, man.
But he gets
Yeah, he never
they
died. He
got hit
never dodged that.
right. He's treated like
The
a
master never dodged that, man. He never dodged that. He always held black people accountable, man, whether you're a Muslim or not. So that's why I
exactly
always respected him. You know what I
right.
mean?
But
Have you listened to Nuri Muhammad?
I haven't. I gotta check him
Ooh
out.
wee. This dude, he was just in Buffalo and I missed him. But I saw him online maybe about 2 years ago, man. This dude he's sharp, and this dude got the nerve to look like Farrakhan, look like a 35-year-old Farrakhan, man. Got the
Hmm.
part in his hair, got the good hair, light skin, good looking dude. But I love Nuri Muhammad, man. He does a lot of spiritual marital counseling, things like that. Um, he had I think a video called Coon Spending,
Hmm.
talking about black people spending habits.
Hmm.
Just phenomenal, man. So Nuri, Nuri Muhammad. Anybody out there, check out that young brother, Nuri Muhammad. And of course, Rissa Islam. Rizza is still, Rizza's cool. I like
Hmm.
him. But yeah, you got a lot of young people out here who are really speaking the truth and speaking uh, what needs to be told. But like you said, you talk about push, dude. This is the perfect outlet to push it.
hundred
You don't
percent.
need political backing when you got YouTube. Now you got to be careful because they will shadow ban you or whatever, they don't deem as, kosher talk, man. They
Hundred
will,
percent.
shadow ban you. You know what I mean? So we got to be cool on here, Don. It's all about anchors away and foreign ports.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny because I was saying like I left a polo message today with the brothers, and
Hmm.
one thing about it, man, we're gonna to the people out here watching and listening, man, we got to be real, got to keep it real, 100% all the way. And
Absolutely.
if we're gonna try to change our our culture or our communities, man, it has to start with ourselves. And another thing, we talk about violence and why is this violence happening? Not only in Chicago but Philly, a lot of these major cities, but Philly and Chicago, and you know,
Any urban area, man.
yeah, most of these urban areas, a lot of these urban areas
Hmm.
with the violence, man, a lot of it, we talked about at one time it was a drug game. But nowadays, I feel like a lot of it also has to do with pettiness and jealousy and covetousness. Somebody don't
Feminine
have,
energy.
yeah. And I'm gonna tell you,
Feminine energy.
this is what happened, I believe, to the poor, to my man Gilly the Kid. His son just unfortunately
Son.
just got murdered in Philadelphia. Now, this man Gilly the Kid ain't never did nothing but try to lift up his city, and he'd be down in the hood. You hear what I'm saying? Gilly would be down in the neighborhood hood. All right, north, west, south, wherever he's down there, and you know, it's like he said, man. They didn't have enough respect for this guy, to keep their hands off of his own son, man. So, but I will say this on the other side of that, I feel bad for what happened to his son, but I've always thought, like, man, brother, you should. I wish he wouldn't. I wish he would have just left him out of here, man. I wish he would have like took his family up out of here, man. Because unfortunately,
Dude.
you can't unfortunately have the money and the cars and the notoriety and go back to the neighborhood and think that these people ain't gonna be hating, ain't gonna be trying to hurt
Not
you.
around people that's starving, man. You
Look at my
can't do
man.
that.
What's the brother that got killed? Nipsey Russell out in
And
L.A.
Nipsey Hussle. Yeah, Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah, Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah, dude,
know,
you listen. The saddest part about being
King
black,
Vaughn, all these other young rappers that I
King
never
Von, you
listened
listen,
to.
man.
Yeah,
Saddest part about being black, Don, is for us to feel that we've made progress, we got to move away from our people.
yeah, that's pathetic, man. It's sad.
That's the most sad thing that's the saddest testimony about the black culture, whatever
Hmm.
that may be. I don't even like to say black culture because what's out here don't represent me or
Hmm.
represent you or represent the hardworking people out here who really pay their taxes and love their family and love God and things like that. But for us to feel like we've succeeded, man, we got to move away from our people. And only in certain areas. Don't get me wrong, because you have affluent black, communities throughout this country. We know that. But the average person, the factory worker, the postman, and this, and that, dude, we try to hold on as long as we can. You know what I mean? And then it's
Yeah,
like when it's just us, most of us hood, we can handle this shit. But when you bring people into your life like a wife and children and shit like that, now you really go into manhood. You have to think for someone besides yourself now, you know. And what will you be ridiculed as a sellout? Because who gives a shit? Once upon a time, they used to bother me. You know what I'm saying? But you don't pay my bills, so I don't care what you think. This is about peace of mind. And if I got to move to peace of mind because I can no longer have it where I live, so be it, man. But the saddest part is I have to leave my people to get peace of mind in so
yeah,
many cases.
and that's a shame, and that's something that when you talk about things that are different today than they were back in the day. I just got back from what was it, Denver, Colorado, and
Hmm.
the 5 Points area in Denver, predominantly black area with businesses and clubs and all kinds of things. A point of pride for them out there. Their own doctors and their own doctor, I guess I should say, hospital, all kinds of things out there. And over
Hmm.
time, they just moved away. They just moved away. They moved away. And I don't know if it was because of violence or whatever the reason was, but they moved and
One
it
of the things you did
fell
say
apart.
was ownership. But you said it was
Right.
ownership.
Right.
I mean, you did mention
So,
that a lot
so
of
they
those
didn't
people
own
who had the
anything.
thriving businesses didn't own that building,
Hmm.
didn't own the square that it stood on. You know what I mean? So, uh, the minister and many others have always talked about ownership.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's very important for you to really, if you're gonna have a foothold in a society, you got to own something, and it's got to be yours. So yeah, yeah,
Let me shift this conversation just a little bit and just bring in a little positivity
all
or
right,
some positivity and I'll talk about Jalen Brown, who just signed, I think, the richest contract in NBA history. I want to say he
yeah,
signed a contract for 304 million.
yep.
And what I like about it is when they asked Jalen what was he going to do with his money, he didn't talk about buying a house. He didn't talk about buying a car. He said he wanted to start another Black Wall Street. He wanted to figure out how to use his money and his power and his influence and invest it in his community. And
But he was talking about Boston, though.
yes, but hey, I mean that's where
See,
he's at.
see,
I'm sure
no,
Boston
no,
got
and I
some
and
black
I
folks.
get that, Don. Right, I get that. And Boston does have black folks in need, of course, because we've known about the history of Boston, of course. But he's a Atlanta native, I believe.
I believe he is from Georgia. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, he from Georgia or whatever. So, yeah, where he works per se, where he works, he's talking about investing in that community. I think that's wonderful. Um, but it has to be so strategically planned out because you can't throw money at every problem. And I know he's not planning on doing that, but it has to be such a strategic and structured plan where, you know what I mean, people can actually benefit off of it as opposed to another handout or another type of assistance or whatever like that. So it's noble what he's saying. And I like Jalen Brown. He's one of my favorite players in the league, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, I'd like to see where this goes, and I think it is admirable, and of course, like I said, noble for him to even put that first. And he's smart anyway. If you ever heard him speak, he's a smart. He wasn't gonna sit there and tell you what he's buying. He wasn't gonna
Hmm.
say nothing. He was That's not John Morant sitting up there.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And even with John Morant, he's acting right now, and it's a bad job of acting. John
And
Morant is a middle class kid, dude,
yeah, yeah, he's
who
not even
feels
about
he
that
got to
life.
live up to something. Come on, dude, stop it.
Yeah,
But again,
100%.
Don, what do we talk about? It's what's surrounding us now, man.
Hmm.
And when the young mind is so impressionable, you got over $200 million liquid in your life, and that ain't good enough. You still gotta lower yourself to what you think street is and hood is and credibility, dude. No one
Hmm.
cares at the end of the day, man.
Yeah.
No one cares at the end of the day. Because if you, my man, and I'm driving. And first of all, I know you got that thing on you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not filming nothing we doing. Before we pull that car off, I'm gonna say, my nigga, you don't need to have that in here, man.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I'm not gonna grab it from you if we get pulled over and say it's mine. So go back in the house, man, and put that thing up. You see what I'm saying? But that's easy for Mike and Don to say, because first of all, we ain't got no millionaire friends. And number two, we don't run in circles like that.
Right.
But those dudes were benefiting from hanging around him. So
Or
he ain't gonna hear no from none of them.
yeah, and or hire professional security because there is professional security that is trained
Yeah,
and to handle high profile clients
right.
like that. So
There you go.
let that be one. Let that be the individual that has the gun. If you're that worried about somebody running up on you, get some security, bro. You got the money to pay him,
Right.
and
Somebody
then
laying in the weeds, man. Somebody laying in the
yeah,
cut. There's always got you. What's the problem?
you got security
Ain't street enough, Nick. I don't need no protection out here, man. I'm
living.
about these streets.
Yeah, out here
See, that's that
fronting.
dumb shit. That's that.
Yeah,
There you go. Out here fronting.
yeah,
A
out here
90s
fronting.
term. Thanks for bringing that back. But
Well, it's still relevant. That's the thing,
yeah,
you know.
it fits. If the shoe fits, no question about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got work to do out here, Don, and that's why like I said, I'm so hopeful, man, that I do get this position that I'm interviewing for Friday, man, because it's like I said, it's a career coach, man. And like I said, bro, you don't want to go to school, bro. You want to get into that workforce, man. I'm the dude to talk to, because my union connections, man, and my history at work, man. I didn't leave my job on bad terms. We can start an internship with them. We can do, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
like you were saying, man, I think if we put kids to work with the right person being like a Pied Piper of that and telling a story that's credible, you know what I mean? Because my
Hmm.
story is credible. My beginnings ain't. I'm sure they're not too much different than any average inner city kid out here. You know, and
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be hoping that works for you, man, because I noticed that I have seen rather that, from my own perspective, it's like when you do try to get involved, man, unfortunately, even when you try to be a helper or a volunteer, there's
mhm,
even division within that.
that's
What I
right.
mean? We can't never seem to be able to just come together. It's always got to be, you get 100 people out here, you're gonna get 100 different ideas, and we can't agree on one thing. And then because we can't agree on one thing, the help don't get there, man. The kids are in the same shape they in. Well, I don't believe it should be done like this. I don't believe it. Well, guess what, bro? I mean, at some point, you can't always have your way. You know what I'm
You're
saying?
not the only one with ideas here, brother.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? Sit,
Let's
yo, just let this marinate, man. We got 20 people in this room that got ideas. Let's get on this whiteboard or blackboard or whatever it is, write them down, and let's talk about every last one of them and how they can be advantageous to this cause because this is about them. It ain't about us, bro.
Yeah, and we
You
lose
know,
sight. We lose sight of that because I've been
we
in
do.
meetings. I noticed one time where this is several years ago, and had a bunch of different brothers in there from different walks of life, and we was in there, and they were like, trying to talk about how we was going to help the children up here or the young, the youth and whatnot, and nothing ever came of it. And then like,
Just talk.
yeah, and then you get some dudes who do get involved, and then they become so disconnected that like you say, they only think that their way is right, and help still is not getting to where it needs to be. So yeah, man, we got work to do, man. We
No
got work
question
to do
about
for
it, brother.
sure. We got work to
Yeah.
do. Yeah,
Yeah, we do, man. And I mean it.
you got work to do, brother. But you know
I mean
what?
it.
I'm glad that we have a platform like this where we can come forward and share our thoughts and our ideas on it. And you know, I look forward to getting people on here that are active in the community.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hopefully, in some future shows, we can get people out here on that are doing good work in the community, and maybe they can be an example of how to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we can put it
I'm sure.
out there.
Yeah,
And let's tell the party people about the fun stuff we're gonna do too. Because we're gonna dedicate some of these podcasts to strictly Navy stories.
absolutely. Yeah, we got a ton of stuff, man. We got a lot of stuff going, but we decided to address this because that was what was popping in the text
Oh,
thread.
absolutely, man.
So,
Absolutely, man. And and what I do like about our text group, man, is as we've all learned, uh the epitome of what you just talked about. We've all learned to respect each other's opinions,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Because none of us really come on there saying that our word is bond. We none of us ever do that. You know what I mean? If something is challenged that you post or I post, it's not offensive for us to say, well, yeah, show me some stats, or hit me with an article. Or what, you know what I mean? Because now we're learning. Now I'm getting taught something. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying? So it's not about offending you or thinking my answer is the right answer. So I really love that growth in our group based on, yo, man, tell me what you're talking about. I need to dig deeper into that. And we'll do that. That's building.
And let me say this, even if you have the mentality, I'm not bashing anybody for thinking like this, but if you have the mentality or the thought process that these homicides, these murders that are going on, that they started, maybe you believe that they were started by, a particular race, white folks, to destroy us. Well, then, we ought to have enough knowledge and enough, you know, uh, uh, fortitude within ourselves, all right, to say, okay, since we recognize it, since you understand it, if that's what you believe,
Let's
regardless of
sidestep it.
the reality is sidestep it and come together,
Hmm.
because
There
ultimately
you
that's
go.
how we're going to rise up. If we don't come together, then we're not never going to rise up. You're not going to see the homicide rate, the drug rate, the poverty rate, all that stuff's not never going to go down. But we always find a way to divide ourselves. People out there, listen to me. We got to find a way to come together. As simple as that.
No question about it. Because now, like you said, the acknowledgement of what we think is the cause of it,
Mm-hmm.
it's right there in your face. But you don't want to sidestep that and build.
Right.
You are more of a slave now than the people in the 1600s were.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? Because that was a immovable, unstoppable force that they were up against, coming to a place not knowing the language, the customs, the this, the that. But dude, we
Mm-hmm.
beyond that. We're beyond that.
Yeah.
How many years ago was that? That we're beyond that, bro.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? I don't ride with that slavery narrative no more, man. All I see is modern day slaves.
Right.
And we got to
Right.
break the change up here. What Bob Marley say? Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. That's where it starts
100%.
up here.
That's right.
That's where it
And
starts up here, man.
and listen, all of our leaders that talk like that, unfortunately, they're not here no more. So you got to be wary when somebody always wants to throw you a crutch to lean on instead of, like, an idea or a way to lift yourself up
Yeah.
and do
Or
better.
self accountability.
Exactly.
I'll
Listen.
help you, man. You ain't got to do all that. Nah, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
If
So,
if I pick up a snake and it bites me, man, I knew it was a snake when I picked it up.
yep.
So we have to be wary of who people choose our leaders to be. We
100%.
got to be careful who society tells us who our leaders are and who our true leaders are. Our true
Absolutely.
leaders are the people you don't see on the idiot box. Our
Oh,
true
absolutely.
leaders are not the people you see on here. Our true
Hmm.
people move in silence, man. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And they make
That's
things
right.
happen. But yeah, brother, we've been on this joint for a minute, man. There's this been
Yeah.
it's been a healthy, flowing, informative conversation. I dug it,
Hundred
man. I
percent,
appreciate
hundred
it.
percent, man. I appreciate you too, man. And I hope that if you're out there, hopefully nobody don't take no offense. We just expressing ideas and
Nah,
and
man.
trying to see our community become better. 'Cause we tired of seeing the news and then letting that be the narrative. And understand
It's all
this
about
too.
love, man. It's all
Yeah,
about love,
but
man.
also understand this. We understand that's not going on in every community. We
No,
understand that every community that might be predominantly black is not out here committing homicides. You know what I mean? But
no.
still, we still want to see our people, rise up and
But it's the
become as
narrative,
great as they
man.
can be.
It's the narrative, Don.
You're right.
The media reports it as such. So here's the thing: would the media absolutely report a decline in it? Would that be glorified? Let's run a test on that. Let's stop killing each other and all that, and let's see what the news got to say then.
Right.
You know what I mean? I would love to see that. I want to see him come on and say, well, believe it or not, black crime is almost non-existent.
Right.
What would you do then? What would society do then, man? Because if black crime became so low or almost non-existent, bro, that means we're like this. That means we're together. And that's where the healing and the progress starts. So we need to get there. This division, doing a number on us, y'all. Bible speaks to that, Don. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
Father against son, mother against daughter.
That's right.
We living it out here, man. So yeah, great show, brother. Yeah, great
You
show.
too, man. Great
Great
discussion,
show.
man. Appreciate it, man. It
Yeah,
was awesome. I
absolutely.
look forward to continuing on. And like Mike said, we'll come back and we're gonna definitely jump more into the NFL. We had planned to talk about some NFL, some football, but sometimes there's a priority of things, and so we wanted to prioritize, I guess, what's going on in the communities. But we will be sure that we both know the game, and we love to talk about football, and we'll talk about it. But we had to give you the real
Yo,
as well.
here's a little outro. NCN Jazz, baby.
Yes, sir.
So we ain't sign off, bro. Here it is. For Don, I'm Mike, the golden voice, the people's choice, and you're watching the Underway podcast. Love you. Can't get enough of you. Go ahead, Don.
See ya on the other side.
My man, 50 grand. Love y'all.